Hi, mystery writers. Hope all is going well with you. Today I wanted to talk about chapter endings because it's one of the best ways to get readers to keep turning pages. Agatha Christie said, sometimes what you think is an end is only a beginning, and that is really what you want to have happen with your chapter endings. Because you have an unputdownable goal, every novelist, no matter what genre, wants their book to be unputdownable. And that means readers keep turning the pages. But what happens when a reader gets to the end of a chapter? A chapter ending is the perfect place for a reader to stop, especially if it's late at night. So how do you hook a reader to go on to the next chapter? Wait, I thought hooks were for the beginning of a novel. But a chapter ending does the same thing. It spurs the reader to keep reading. That chapter ending is the end of a mini story. Each chapter is a mini story with a beginning, middle, and end. And the secret to creating a chapter ending that prompts the reader to continue is to create a hook. And that hook can be emotional, mental, or physical, but it creates curiosity in your reader's mind. And while the end of your novel may wrap up all the threads, a chapter ending with a hook leaves a thread hanging. And what thread you dangle is a choice you make to match the content of the chapter and the chapter to come. Your ending hook at the chapter leads into a new beginning, the next chapter. And so let's look at a few ways to get your reader to continue. One is an important decision. Your character has to make a crucial choice. She has to choose between fighting to keep her business alive or giving up. He has to either fight the giant or retreat to find a different way to the cove with the treasure. Your main character has to decide. And if you alternate between active and reactive scenes, the decision ending works well in the reactive scene. The detective enumerates the possible suspects and now has to choose which one is the most likely perpetrator. And the reader must continue reading to discover what the choice is and the consequences of that choice. Okay, so there's decision. And then another, of course, is physical danger. Ending with physical danger creates an unresolved situation in the reader's mind. It's often called a cliffhanger, and the chapter end puts the character in a life-threatening situation. And this ending is a strong prompt for the reader to continue, and that because they'll want to resolve the unresolved situation. From hanging on a cliff to stepping into a dark room to being threatened with a knife to whatever your imagination and your story throws in the way of your character, a cliffhanger is a great way to end a chapter. I think of all the novels that I've read, James Clavell is the master of the cliffhanger chapter ending. Novel editor John Fox suggests a graceful cliffhanger. He says, the perfect cliffhanger is one which the reader doesn't even consciously realize they've been cliff-hung. Let's pretend that's a word. So you can soft pedal your physical danger so the reader feels the tension without knowing what you've led them to at this point. Okay, another great chapter ending is an important arrival. Use the beginning to end the chapter. An opponent arrives to thwart your hero just when he's about to succeed. The love interest ex-spouse wants him back. A mentor arrives and tells your hero he's been doing it all wrong. Anyway, there's an important arrival right at the end of your chapter, and it switches out everything. These are great. Important arrivals are great to introduce a twist, and because the arrival changes the direction of the story and leading to new obstacles and complications. Okay. Another chapter ending is an unexpected revelation. Unexpected discoveries also work to add a plot twist. Just as the chapter ends, reveal a secret. The real mastermind behind the plot to take over the government is your heroine's best friend. I just made that up. The prime suspect in a mystery was away at the time of the murder. The key to getting the dragon's treasure is to sing a lullaby. Whatever unexpected revelation, there's a new piece of information that comes to your protagonist. Readers like surprises, and while you work hard to create obstacles for your characters, a positive surprise that twists the plot generates a strong desire to know how that revelation is going to change the story. And of course, another way is to pose a question. A question propels the reader to continue because they want to know the answer, and it's the perfect way to send your reader to the next chapter. Any of your characters can ask a question. You don't have to limit yourself to the protagonist. A sidekick asks your hero to reconsider their last action. An opponent probes with a question your hero doesn't want to answer, but must because the opponent is her superior. A potential love interest wants to know why your heroine doesn't want children when he does. Any question that pops up at the end of your chapter reinforces your story's theme or probes at your protagonist's weakness. Those are great ways to end a chapter by posing a question, which is like your hero is like, what? Now they have to rethink stuff. Why it's great for a twist as well. And then, of course, you can create a mystery. Your protagonist and your reader do not know what will happen next. Mystery chapter endings work well at the midpoint when everything is about to change, at the everything is lost point in your story. The future is a mystery. Your protagonist has no idea what is going to happen next, and neither does your reader. Your protagonist doesn't know what to do next, and if you do this right, your reader is going, why don't you? The readers are like cheering your protagonist on, and they're going to think in their head, they're going to come up with possible solutions. So creating a mystery is a great way to end your chapter. However you spin the mystery, your reader wants to discover how it's going to be solved. Another way to end a chapter is to deepen your character. Character change is as important as plot development, and it's an essential element of character-driven novels. And as you uncover your character's levels, you create a stronger emotional attachment for your reader. Deepening your character creates new aspects that present new challenges for your protagonist. A new positioning of your character opens avenues for development, and you create a sense of wonder in your reader that drives them to continue. The reader wants to learn how this new revelation will change the story. Now that we know this new thing about the protagonist, how is this going to change the whole story? How is your character going to act on this new revelation about themselves? Okay, you don't want to pick just one and use that over and over again. You want to mix up your chapter endings, so it helps you, mixing them up helps you avoid repetition. If you end all your chapters the same way, your reader will feel like they're being tricked, and that's true. Oh, wait, I just did that. So vary your chapter endings works, and if you're a planner, you can set up your chapter endings before you write your chapters. More advanced writers may end each chapter in a similar way to create a rhythm or emphasize a theme. The story within the chapter needs to be strong and exciting. So what you're doing at the end of your chapter is you're bringing a conclusion to the mini story that your chapter has presented. So this is the beginning, a middle, and the end is your chapter ending. So don't forget, techniques are techniques. So make sure your chapter endings are natural and they end at a legitimate stopping point. A forced ending feels contrived and puts off a reader. So rather than continuing on, the reader's just going to stop. So don't overthink your chapter endings. Choose an ending that makes sense for the mini story of that chapter. The key is to fit the chapter ending to what happens in the chapter, your genre, and moving the story forward. So I hope these little tips help, because the more you can create a little bit of tension at the end of your chapter, the more engaged your reader will be. And essentially what you want to do is leave at the end of the chapter, leave your reader with a question. So each one of those chapter endings leaves the reader with a question, and the only way to get the question answered is to keep reading. Okay, I hope that helps a lot. I hope you're all having fun with your mysteries. My one mystery is off at the editor, and I can't wait to see what she has to say about it. And meanwhile, I'm working on a new story. I'm planning a new story. So that's really fun. Please, in the group, share where you are with your current story. Love to hear. Hi, Ruth. Thanks. Great to see you too. All right, so that's it for today. Focus on your chapter endings. Get those readers ready to turn the pages. And I will see you next week.